if it works. We're live. All right, so it's an internet issue and here. You and hopefully all is well. Each and every one of you that are watching. So I'm just talking host of the Virtue Show. We've been doing this every Monday through Friday ever since kind of pre-COVID and into the end of COVID, through all of this. But we want to definitely just kind of just share a very specific message with each and every one of you, and that is that you can win the you versus you battle. There are literally 12 battles in my book, you versus your relationships, your finances. I think today we're going to get into one of the battles that's really persona. You know, kind of sometimes we're afraid to share our message to the world. We all have a message. A lot of us have unique messages to share because we've overcome a lot in our life. We've overcome betrayal. We've overcome a lot of emotional traumas. And we have someone today that really can speak with authority on that subject. Someone that maybe growing up didn't have a lot of voice to share, was told, hey, don't say that, or hey, don't do this, you know. And I wanted to bring her on because not only does she have an incredible message to share with each and every one of you to inspire you, because many of you have a message to share. You might be going through the battle right now and you might say, well, I'm not. But just living and doing your best is overcoming. The battle's never done unless you're dead. So we're never going to be at a point of our life where we have no problems, no challenges. That means we're in heaven. And obviously we're all looking forward to that day. But in the meantime, let's understand a little bit about the challenges and maybe have a redefining of that so that we can repeat wise choices. So we got someone today that I'm super pumped to be sharing with you. Her name is Kirsten. She is amazing. She is in her 20s, but she has 3 children. She is a wife. She's a powerhouse leader. She's an influencer. She's an impactor. And she's really equipping people right now to be able to get out of their comfort zone and to share their unique message to the world. And I wanted to bring her on the show today to have her share her unique message with each and every one of you. And then we're going to get into some Q&A. So Kirsten, thanks so much for being on. Appreciate you. And I'll go ahead and give you the stage right now just to share kind of a little of your background and a little bit about your message today. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Todd, for having me on here. I really appreciate it. And I'm so grateful for you and you being a coach to me. So I'm just going to tell you my story. So my name is Kirsten Morley. I am an emotion code and body code practitioner. So a little bit about me, my backstory is, so about 3 years ago, I had a C-section with my second baby. And I was in the middle of the night breastfeeding my baby, silently crying, like trying so hard not to wake up my husband that was sleeping right next to me. And I was just crying because I felt broken, especially because of the C-section. And I didn't want anybody to know about that. So
there you are. All right, keep going. You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Sorry about that. Okay, so, and then on top of that, I was dealing with betrayal trauma for the previous 5 years, and the birth of my child had actually brought all of that emotion, that was basically like the emotional tipping point for me. And I was sobbing because I didn't want anybody to know about it. I didn't want anybody to know that I was in pain emotionally on the inside. And at that time, I decided, you know what, I'm going to get some help. So I actually started going to support groups and therapy, and it was helping a lot, and it was very informative. And I was getting so much information, and it was helping me, but it was only getting me so far. Like the emotional pain I was feeling was still there. I was like, what is going on? Something's missing. And that's when I knew that I needed to do something different. So all I wanted for my life was to feel normal, to have a normal relationship, to move on with my life. And but deep down, I just wanted to heal from the betrayal trauma, and I just wanted to have an emotional connection with my husband. But the thing is I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to go to. Yeah, I was going to the support groups, but it was only getting me to a certain point. So to make things worse, I was lacking the self-confidence, and I was constantly feeling overwhelmed by life. And the problem was that after years of trying to make myself feel better, I wasn't making any progress and I was stuck. I actually was contemplating ending my marriage, or I needed to try something different just to get through this, you know? So that is when I actually found the emotion code. So the emotion code is basically all about releasing your emotional baggage energetically. And the cool thing is that I had actually had success with energy healing in the past. And that actually eliminated my ADD, and I even had problems with my previous pregnancy. And then one day it like clicked for me. I was like, I can tailor the emotion code, this energy healing stuff or this voodoo stuff to help me get past my traumas. And I was just like, what? Yes, like I need this, you know? So I actually learned how to do the emotion code for myself. And I was like, okay, so as I was going throughout life, my triggers started going away. My anxiety started going away. And eventually I was more in control over myself. The plan was to actually start healing myself in every way I possibly could that had to do with the betrayal. So I actually started helping my kids and my husband, but there was still a problem. So after all of that, things are still not perfect. And I was still learning how to use the emotion code. And I didn't feel like I had access to its like full potential because I was still new at it. And I felt like I was missing specific things or like imbalances that were actually preventing me from healing completely. So I ended up getting so frustrated with myself that I was like, you know what, I'm going to get certified in the emotion code and the body code. I'm going to do it. So, and then I basically thought if I could be a part of something that would make it possible to speed up the process of emotional healing, I'd be super happy about that, and actually to do it for other people as well. So after 3 years of practicing and researching, I actually started lightenmylifenaturally.com. And because of what I went through, I made a program and to help women heal from their own betrayal trauma quicker, easier, faster, and especially for those women who feel stuck even with what they're doing. So I was not only able to heal from my own emotional baggage, my own betrayal trauma, but I am now able to have a healthy relationship with my husband and my kids, and the anxiety is gone, the triggers are gone, and I can honestly say I have found my new normal. And I love myself, not to be like, oh my gosh, I love who I am, but like I have confidence in myself, and I am more in control over my emotions. So that's pretty much my story. And
so when you say betrayal, so what does that mean to you? Because I know we could be betrayed by friends, we could be betrayed sexually, we could be betrayed by our partner, we could be betrayed by our dog. I don't think by our dog, because dogs don't betray us. That's why we love dogs. Maybe by a cat. That's why I'm not a cat person. Maybe a cat. But walk us through a little bit about betrayal, because maybe not everyone's been betrayed by their spouse or a partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, but maybe it's a best friend that just kind of moved on, or they did something, or maybe I don't know. So how we all have triggers with betrayal. So what does that kind of mean to you, and how can you share that to maybe help someone right now if they're dealing with that?
Well, basically what I do, and I can work it in any sense, but since I overcame betrayal trauma, I'm basically helping other women go from a betrayal trauma victim to a strong, empowering woman, like I feel like I've done myself. And whether you've had a spouse or a significant other that has a porn addiction, or has had an affair, or is or is abusive in any way, that's why I actually made the 18-week course. So like when you go through all of this this trauma, this can cause so many different things. Your emotional baggage actually causes mental, physical, emotional ailments. So basically what I do is I help remove the help energetically remove the heart wall, which is causing the anxiety, the depression, causing you to not have that connection with your spouse. And then I go in and I remove all the energetic imbalances that are actually preventing you from healing like all of the negative energies that you're getting from the toxic relationship that you're in. Right. And then I actually, once we're done like removing all of those, I actually go help you love yourself again, because I think that's one of the most important things that you can right. do is to love yourself unconditionally. So, and I do that all through the emotion code and body code.
So how can, and I talked about this when I was on CNN, about a year ago, on national television, when, the anchor asked me what kind of the premise of the you versus you is. It's like, when you can get to the point where you do love yourself unconditionally, and that means that, like, let me put it this way. Let's say you were betrayed, right? Let's say right now my wife betrays me and your husband betrays you right now. Okay, cool. That sucks. But because I love myself unconditionally, cool, whatever. Like I'm not going to be like, my life's not going to be over because of that. Now, maybe a couple of years ago, my life, I would be depressed. I would be like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Oh my God, this is horrible. We got to see a counselor. Yeah, I mean, I might divorce her, sure. I might not trust her again, but whatever, I'll get through it, whatever. Because I love myself so much that I could be alone with my thoughts, and that's cool because I have a conscious, and that conscious is not hurting me, and it's my inner roommate's not hurting me anymore. And of course, the cool thing is what we broadcast. So for instance, and I was in a marriage before, and I constantly was always being said, are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? Are you cheating on me? Giving no reason. For 9 years, where are you? Where are you? And I've never ever, so maybe I don't know what broadcast I was sending, but maybe they were sending out a broadcast of their insecurity. Yep. And I think a lot of people do that because people are insecure. They're projecting they're broadcasting their insecurity to the world. And then eventually maybe that friend or spouse could be like, yeah, you know what? I am cheating on you. Watch this, because you've spoken into existence so much. So talk to me about how we can get that confidence. Now, I'm not talking about narcissism. I'm not talking about like not empathetic or even sociopath. I'm just talking about a healthy love that no matter what happens to your life, you're going to be fine. How do we get to that point, using the emotion code and body code where we can just, hey, especially with our spouse, like if we're looking at our spouse right here, it's like, hey, I love you. Life is better with you. But if I didn't have you, I'm good. And not take offense to that just because it's just so powerful to be in that kind of stance, in that mental place, because we can't control other people. We can't. And if we start to try to control other people, we're the ones in big trouble, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. So in the body code, I'll show you my little app here, by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He developed this, and I can honestly say this is like the most complete system. So I can actually tell you a few things that in the toxic, like the energetic imbalances that you can actually release. And then it's kind of funny, things just kind of start working out. So one of actually my favorite things to release is called a broadcast message. A broadcast message is basically a vibe or a frequency that you send off into the world. So if somebody comes in the room and you have a broadcast message of I'm invisible, then people are actually going to ignore you. They're going to not notice you. One of my I actually have a friend, and you know who this friend is. This friend, he had a broadcast message of betray me, okay? And people in his life were not honoring him. They were betraying him. His spouse was betraying him. Literally, she was cheating on him. And as soon as he got rid of that broadcast message, and replaced it with honor me, people started respecting him. People, like, he noticed the world around him changing because he got rid of that negative imbalance of betray me. So honestly, it's so amazing that like just that simple thing can actually change your life. So another one of my favorite energy imbalances I actually like to get rid of is according. So for example, if you were in a toxic relationship with your spouse or your ex-wife or your ex-husband, if you still feel connected to that person, but it's very unhealthy and you're not like in that relationship, you could have a cording. So a cording is basically like an energetic umbilical cord. And so like for you and your spouse, it's very healthy to have a heart-to-heart cording. Okay. So because you want to be connected at the heart with your spouse. But if you're connected in any other way, like the brain to brain, a gut to gut, symbolically, it's very unhealthy. So, where was I going with this? So basically,
biblical core, because I know what you're saying, and I think so. Let me put it this way, and I'll bring back to your memory, I'm sure. So let's say someone's watching this and they are in a relationship right now, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they love it. They want it to last, or even marriage, but they have maybe an ex that they have massive drama with. Yeah. How can somebody cut that cord off, that negative cord where there's peace, there's inner peace, and they're not constantly living in their past, but they can now see a beautiful future with the boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever now, and instead of self-sabotaging it because they can't get past that, or they're still connected to that negativity.
Right. You release it with the emotion code and body code. I can just tell you right now, you use 3 swipes over your head, over the gut ring meridian, and boop, it's gone. You know,
shields up. Yep.
Shields up. Yep. And you just you get a session with me, and we can release all your energetic imbalances or all your cordings with exes, all of the emotional baggage. Like when you go into a new relationship, like the last thing you want to do is bring that cord with you.
Right.
From your ex.
But everyone does that. There's a statistic. So 50% of marriages end in divorce the first time. Almost 70% of marriages in the second round end, and it's crazy. Like if you're married the third time, it's like 90%. Well, why is that? Is that just because? No, I mean it's not just because people don't believe in marriage. It's because people don't get married saying I'm going to get a divorce down the road. Can't wait, because divorce is second to death. Okay, of the most stressful thing in the world. But at the same time, that's exactly what they do. And they bring in, even on a subconscious level, not wanting to do that. Of course, nobody wants to talk about their ex to their new lover. But at the same time, they're broadcasting that message, or they're not even understanding what they're doing to their other partner, who is like, look, can we please stop talking about that? You know, and eventually it's just being like, you know what, I'm out. So what the emotion code, body code, in your opinion, do you think, even though you're not like a relationship expert yourself, not that the emotion code, body code even really deals in marriages or anything like that, but are you saying that once you figure this out and release this, could your marriage be like 10 times better? I mean, how does that look?
Am I still married to my husband? Yes. Then yes, absolutely. Like there were, like, my husband and I had problems. Like,
sure.
I released those imbalances. We released imbalances from our exes, and like now I can honestly say, like, we are so connected. It's insane. Like the other day we were working on some stuff, and my husband was sitting across the room, and he had a thought. He's like, honey, and then I was like, are you thinking this? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know that?
Right.
So like it's so amazing how like you can honestly be in so much harmony when you don't have that backpack of emotional baggage. And it's insane. So
Very cool. Now you must charge $1 million for someone to work with you, because that's pretty much what you're worth. You know what I mean? So but you do free sessions, and then of course you're a not free, like, because you just give them away for free, because obviously that would be pretty dumb. But you do give like a kind of a first session, just so people can feel it and experience it. And I've experienced it firsthand. I've done it. I still have body code practitioners working on me every week. It's amazing. So how do people find you on Instagram, and also be able to connect with you one-on-one for them to experience this? Because, you know, if I'm watching this for the first time, I'm real skeptical of what you're saying. I'm looking at you. I might look at your age. Oh, that's a very nice young lady. I'm sure she's been through some hard times, but I'm in my 40s or I'm in my 50s, and I've been married for 20 years. She just wait till she's married. But it's not about length of marriage. It's not about your age. It's about how all of us human beings have one thing in common. We have a lot of emotional baggage, okay, from our past. And that's just because of life. Life is imperfect. We're imperfect people, but there is a way that we can heal from this. So tell me a little bit about how you can help people personally, and like specifically, just flat out, like don't be shy, and where can people contact you to get this kind of help immediately?
Okay, so I don't usually give my phone number out, but okay, if you want to text me, here it is, 435-770-8834. If you message me and say, hey, I really want a free session, I want to experience, I want to have harmony with my husband, my spouse, whatever, I want to get over this emotional baggage, text me, okay? I also have Facebook, Kirsten Morley. You can, it's just right here down below, right?
Lighten My Life. Yep.
Yep. You can find me on my Facebook page, Lighten My Life Naturally. I have a Facebook group, so if you want to keep things a little bit more private, you can go on there. It's called Lighten My Life Naturally. Yep. And then I also have Instagram. It's Kirsten.Morley. And then I also have a YouTube channel. If you need more information, like if you don't want to contact me, like that's totally fine. Go onto my YouTube channel. I have some really great informative I was gonna say movies, videos on there, and just to kind of explain what emotion code is. And then I also do live energy healing sessions on Periscope, which is Kirsten.Morley, or you can just search me on Periscope. So I actually do have a special offer. Is that okay if I do that now?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so the first 20 people to contact me actually gets a free complimentary session. I usually charge a lot of money for this, but like I said, if you like, could you imagine getting along with your spouse? Could you imagine repairing this marriage that you have, or this relationship that you have with your significant other? Like, how would it be to actually, each of you, to get rid of your emotional baggage and actually have harmony with each other and your kids? Like, that's amazing. So the first 20 people to message me, you'll get a free complimentary session. And then, by the way, I do have my Betrayal Trauma Step Guide ebook that's coming out soon. I cannot tell you how excited I am about this, but I've been working on it for a while. So
amazing. Yeah, I don't know if you heard of Pastor Rick Warren, but he's the author of The Purpose-Driven Life, and it's the #1 best-selling book in the history of the world, hardback. And he says this a lot, and he's been married now to his wife for probably 30 to 40 years, but he said the MasterCard, now this is really important for everyone that's listening, MasterCard saved his marriage because the first 4 years of his marriage were horrible. And if he didn't have a credit card, he would be divorced. And what he means by that is he had to go to a marriage counselor, and he had to do it for about a year. And he spent like $5,000 that whole year just to go through marriage counseling, which I totally believe in. But I really believe in what you're doing 10 times more, because you can talk your problems to someone else, which is nice. But when you're actually dealing with the core issue of your emotional trauma, and for a fraction of what a therapist costs or a marriage counselor costs, it's unprecedented. And I didn't even know about the emotion code until about 7 months ago when I read the book and I realized that Tony Robbins did the forward, and Tony Robbins doesn't do any forwards to any book. Okay. Nope. So it's a very big deal, and it's exciting to see what.
Oh no. You're breaking up, Todd. You froze. Oh no. Is it just me? Todd, can you hear me?